Hi everybody. Hey, I thought I'd join you out here in my car where it's quiet and I can get away from the kids for just a little bit because they're being so dang loud that you wouldn't even be able to hear me. So luckily the little bit of the light in my car is able to kind of make it possible for me to do my regular Sunday lives at 9 p.m. that I do every single week. Part of it's accountability for me, and part of it is I've had some of you reach out to me and say that it's helped you. So I will continue doing them. I know I've talked a lot about my trauma therapy, Kay, and some of you may be tired of hearing about it, but some of you have enjoyed hearing about it because you've kind of thought of the process, about doing the process yourself. So just a little short recap on the trauma therapy. It's been going on about, I want to say, almost 2 months now. Time has just kind of flown by for me on this. At first, it felt like it was taking forever. And if you really think about it, like 31 years of pure heck versus 2 months of some big, huge, life-changing events really isn't that long compared to the amount of time that I've been going through the trauma process. So there's been some big, huge, successful things that have happened. I've made some great leaps and bounds, and I've also had some great, huge hurdles thrown at me in my way. I have had to do the narrative part of it over and over and over again because I didn't get everything out before. And like I said, what that is, what trauma therapy is with the narrative writing is where you've been through traumatic experiences in your life. It can be anything that's super traumatic, and your counselor walks you through it. It's something that is supervised through her and her profession of being professional, and you have to write down every single little thing in detail along with the feelings that it made you feel in order for it to be part of the trauma process. Then you go back into your counselor, and you end up having to read everything that you've written down on those pieces of paper. And it sounds like it might be easy to be able to do, but it certainly isn't, especially because you're expressing everything that you've gone through in front of somebody that I don't know. I'm just not an open type of person, which is probably shocking for some of you guys because I go on here and I do my lives and they're pretty personal. But the reason for me doing this is because it helps me, and there's a lot of people I know that have gone through the same thing, and they're really unsure about this process of trauma therapy because they've seen what some people have gone through, and it's not an easy process. So basically what happens and what it does to you is it reminds you of everything that you've gone through. You think about it. For me, I had nightmares every single night for a while. I would go to certain places or we'd be driving somewhere and we would happen to be by a place that I had something bad happen, and it would trigger those memories in my mind and make me become super emotional. So I've gone through ups and downs of severe anger, depression got really, really bad, and then I'd have, like, the longer I've been doing it, the more good days I've noticed have happened. But then, when you would feel like you've walked 10 steps forward, you might hit 11 steps back. But as I go through it, I realize that those steps back are nearer and fewer in between, and that my success has been able to increase. A big, huge part of it is the support that I've gotten from my loved ones. Now, I was super afraid because I have to be honest, I kind of judged my family at thinking they might not understand or be caring about what it is that I've gone through. And part of one of my healing processes was to have to explain to them some of the things that I have gone through. And that was super hard because I didn't know how they were going to respond. I didn't know how they were going to react. I didn't know if they would disown me or if they would be super upset about some of the things that I've told them that I've gone through, which is silly because it had nothing to do with them. It's nothing that they did wrong. It was just that in order for me to be able to get some anger out and feeling disconnected from family and stuff, I had to be able to tell them what it was that I was going through so that they could kind of understand my personality, why I've been distant, why I've kind of pushed people away. And the turnout from that was super amazing, and I had tons and tons of love and support from it. So that was the big thing I had to go through last Sunday. And I was very emotional. I was very physically sick afterwards because it takes a lot out of you. Did a lot of crying. And then the few days of this beginning of this week, I spent it in bed because you have to learn how to reconnect. And when you've lived a certain way for so long in your life of only being a person that pushes people away, being a person that doesn't talk about your feelings, being a person that fears everything, that has no trust, that cannot trust people, being a person that sabotages things in a way, meaning like I would think in my mind, okay, if I pushed away my husband, then I would never get hurt, or he could never leave me, or if I hurt him first, then when one day when it happens, which it never has, but in my mind I was thinking from all my experiences in life, if I did that to him first, then it wouldn't hurt me as bad because I had already taken care of the pain beforehand. And to you, with normal, natural relationships in life, it probably seems foreign and crazy to you, but there are some of us out there who experience these things, and we live life miserably emotionally for so long from events that have happened in our life that we sit there and wonder for a long time, like, how are we supposed to get through this? How are we supposed to make life livable? How can we be normal like Susie or Betty or whatever it is, when we're going through the same thing, or when we're going through what we're going through ourselves? And some of us would get on Facebook and be like, wow, look at this friend, she's got a perfect marriage and they're always happy and they're always on these wonderful cruises and trips, and they're driving a nice car and this, that, and the other. And I'd look at those people and sadly to say, yeah, I judged, and I was like, why can't I have that? But you know what, guys? I do have wonderful things in my life that it was so hard for me to see because I had a dirty filter. That's what my counselor would call it, a dirty filter, is you have all this gunk and junk inside your brain and inside your body that you've been holding on for so long, that you've been dealing with all by yourself. And finally, I did the right steps. I made the right steps of going through this trauma therapy in order to be able to clean that filter. And so this last visit that I had with her on Monday, I asked her, I'm like, please don't tell me there's anything else that I have to do that's super, super hard, like the bleeding out process of having to talk about the yucky, awful, horrible, hard stuff I've had to go through. And she says, you know what, girlfriend? You've gone through all of the hard stuff. Now it's the easy stuff. And I was like, well, what do you mean by that? She says, well, you've cleaned your filter. Now you're open and clean of all the things that have junked you up on not being able to feel good things and not being able to think good things and not being able to experience wonderful things. And so when you live a life holding on to hard things for so long, you guys, that isn't something that you can get over by yourself. It really, really isn't. I went through 31 years, almost 32 in a couple weeks, of thinking that life was a certain way and that's just the way of life and how you're supposed to live, and that I'm just the one that has to get over it by myself. But my marriage was suffering, meaning that I would pull myself away and not allow myself to love my husband and my kids to the fullest. And I kept myself from enjoying activities and stuff like that with my family and friends would try to get close to me, and I'd be afraid that they would be another one that would backstab me or hurt me, because that's all I've ever experienced or known. And I have some really, really good ones, guys, that are supporting me, that are there for me the first time in my whole entire life. You guys some of you have been super lucky to have that and have the high school friends that you've been friends with for years and years and years. I never did. And so for me to be able to experience like real true friendships now, it's like, it's crazy, but it's wonderful and amazing. So anyways, as we've kind of been able to go on this, like, I guess, little trip, just kind of going to see my grandparents in St. George and stuff, and being able to break free from responsibility for a couple days, I've been able to kind of sit back and think of all the things I'm grateful for. And that's kind of hard for me, which sounds harsh, but like I said, when your filter is dirty with all these different emotional baggage and experiences and things and trauma, it's hard to be able to see past that dirty filter. And now that it's clean and I have all this open space inside of me and my brain and my heart and everything to be able to love and feel for the first time in all these years, I can't even express to you how amazing it feels. We drove past a golf course, and people ask you, what's your favorite thing? What are your hobbies? What are the things that you love to do and stuff? And I would tell people, well, I like to design, I guess. And that's all I'd be able to say. I guess I like being a mom. I have fun with my husband sometimes, and that's all I'd be able to say. But as we, were driving past things and talking and stuff on the long drive and everything, it's like, oh, I'd love to be able to go golfing. And everybody in the car was like, you would? And I was like, yes, I would. And I would be really good at it too. And I would, score all y'all on this. And then they start laughing and everything. And then I started thinking, oh, I'd love to go horseback riding. I want a pool in my backyard. I want to be able to experience things like that. And everybody just kind of started laughing because they haven't heard this from me before. They're like, wow, Mom, you like those things? And I was, love to do these things. What are some of the other things we were talking about that we were just laughing about? I really learned that I love swimming, and I keep begging everybody to go swimming with me again, and they're just like, Mom, we're so tired. We've been in the pool a long time, and just all these experiences of being able to feel something for the first time. And it's kind of like for a baby, being able to learn how to smile for the first time, and it's so cute and they're so happy, and you can tell that there's so much joy inside them. Being able to learn how to say mama for the first time, or their first crawl or their first walk, that's kind of basically what it is when you go through this process. You completely clean out all of the bad, and you're able to fill all those empty places up with good. And it's your choice. You get to choose what you do and how you do it. I have control over my life now. Not all the negative things, not all the negative people out there. I'm choosing for the new Lisa that is finally able to learn things all over again and experience things. I'm choosing to fill it with good and great positive things, because then that way I can love more, I can love harder, I can be more passionate passionate about great things and serve people and do it with a genuine and a positive heart, and not let those tough, hard things of my past life ruin me anymore, because it's almost like it never happened. But here's the thing. It's not like a snap of a finger of saying, oh, I've gone through these things, I've experienced these things, now it's just going to go away. All the bad's gone, I'm never going to think about it, it's not going to be hard. There are going to be hiccups, and I've had those hiccups. But because my husband went through the same process right before me, he's able to be super supportive with this. And if you feel like you might not have a supportive spouse with it, I'm sure you do with a parent, I'm sure you do with a friend or someone or something. We all have someone there that can support us through it. And I've been blessed, and I can see how God has lined each person up for the time that I would have to go through these really, really tough times. But as I've done these lives, I've been able to look back and see myself as, wow, like, look at my countenance when I first started doing the lives about the tough things and stuff. And I'm able to look back and see my tone of voice and how emotional and upset I was, to being able to look at myself now and hear myself being like, you know, I have made strides. I have made progress and improvement, and it will only get better from here. And I'm enjoying things that I've never imagined that I would enjoy before. You know, no, I'm not perfect. I'm not exactly where I want to be yet, but now I'm excited to make goals and to stick with them and to try hard. And my business has been a super huge thing for me. When I'm having really, really hard days like that, when I put it into focusing on helping people, it has made it so fulfilling for me. It's made it to where I have a purpose, and to be able to bless people's lives the way my life has been blessed. And so I wanted to come on here and just kind of share that with you. Like, you guys, it's not a bad thing to accept and talk about when you have hard times and when it's a struggle, especially on Facebook. I'm sure people are going to judge me. I'm sure people could laugh and point fingers, but I don't care anymore about that. And I used to be that type of a person. I used to care so much about what other people would think of me that I would be terrified to come on here with my hair in a bun and no makeup on and worry about what other people would think. Anybody can think what they want, but when you learn to love yourself and who you are and what you do and what you stand for, you know that what other people think does not define who you are, and that self-esteem is just an opinion of what others feel and think about you. It's more importantly to think about what self-worth is. And self-worth was already given to you the moment that you were created and put here on earth. And no matter what anybody says or does or what's done to you does not change or take away from who you are and what you have the ability to be. And that's all in your hands. That's all up to what you want to do. So you make those strides in improving your life and do those self-checks with yourself. You know, if you don't like where you're at in life, you don't like who you are in life, then that means there needs to be some changes. And those changes don't just happen by sitting in a chair and twiddling your thumbs, hoping for that great break to come your way or for the grass to be greener on the other side. The only way that the grass is greener is if you water it, which means do something about why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. And for me, mine was going to a counselor and finally breaking down, having to be at my lowest of lows to reach out and ask for help and ask her to help me with this trauma therapy. And now, after 31 years, I have finally gotten to the point where I can say that I did it, and that I'm getting through it. There's no way around it but through it, and I'm doing it. So I wish you guys all luck with your lives, and hope that you can take care of whatever struggles or heartache that you guys have gone through, and know that all of us go through something. To each his own. What I might have gone through may not be, hard for you to experience or to go through, but I'm winning. I'm doing great. I'm doing good, and I'm brave for doing it. So if that's something that you want encouragement by, reach out to your loved ones and the ones that would be there for you, and take that step forward on figuring out what you need to do to get where you need to be. See you guys.